Joining me now to discuss this further in the studio is Basak Yavcan. She is an associate professor of political science at TOBB University of Economics and Technology. And from Brussels, Edouard Rodier is the director of the Norwegian Refugee Council Europe. He joins us from Belgium. Before we start discussing and debating this, I just want to pull up a graphic for the benefit of our viewers. Around 63% of all Syrian refugees are in Turkey. That's around 3.5 million. Around 976,000 or 17% are in Lebanon. 11% are in Jordan and then other countries. This in addition to about 1 million odd Syrian refugees across Europe. Edouard, I want to bring it to you. If we see this offensive in Idlib unfold and progress, what kind of fallout can we expect as far as refugees trickling into Turkey are concerned, for example?
Well, first and foremost, what we need is to avoid this to happen. Idlib is the last safe place in northern Syria. This is the end of the road for many. And when I say many, I'm talking hundreds of thousands of people who have come from other places such as Aleppo or Eastern Ghouta because they thought it was a safe place. Idlib has to remain a safe place. Now, coming to your question, if really we need to look at the worst case scenario, if Idlib is to become a war zone, which really should not happen, then we need to make sure that there is freedom of movement for the population, for them to be able to move and seek for safety wherever they feel safety could be. And if this means crossing a border, it would be very, very important to allow this to happen. And we are all fully aware of the tremendous efforts that Turkey and Turkish people have made from the beginning of this conflict for the past 7 years. There is no other country on earth that has done that. We all praise Turkey and its people for that. But there may be a need for one more additional effort. And this is maybe what is happening. Maybe we hope it won't happen, but if it happens, we certainly hope that there will be a shelter for these people.
One more push is what you're saying, Edouard. You also mentioned 3.5 million refugees. Here, I'll bring it to Basak. Turkish authorities are saying that if this offensive unfolds, they are expecting 800,000 more Syrians to cross the border. Can Turkey take these numbers? Can it actually accommodate these numbers, Basak?
Well, this is a great question, and we have been asking this question to ourselves as well. Turkey did not think that it would take in 3.5 million either, and it took Turkey very long amount of time to develop policies, to develop the infrastructure, to deal with this situation effectively, to manage this refugee flow. It now has the know-how to do that. However, there are other constraints currently, which is mainly the public opinion is very turning from a more positive to a negative towards Syrian refugees. So it would be also very difficult to manage this issue domestically, to explain it to people why we would have to do that. And that's precisely why, also partly why, Turkey is trying so hard to solve the issue and keep Idlib as it is, as a safe zone. Turkey now is in the process of this temporary protection in camps to more urban settlement. And this would undo everything that Turkey has done to integrate the refugees, which would be dealing with the new wave at the moment.
I want to take it back to Edouard in Brussels. You have sources inside Idlib. What are they telling you? What are the most urgent humanitarian needs and requirements for the internally displaced in Idlib right now, Edouard?
Well, what we hear from people on the ground and various aid workers working in Idlib is that the situation is critical. Today, a large amount of people rely completely on humanitarian aid. Tomorrow, if Idlib were to become a war zone, as you said, hundreds of thousands of people, potentially up to 1 million people, will be on the move again. What we know is that we don't have the capacity as aid agencies to provide to these people more than 20% of the shelter they would need. Concretely, that means that 500,000 people, maybe tomorrow, will just have nothing above their head. And this is just an example to give you the sense of this is the first necessary step that you need when everything else is missing. We need not only for the people to be able to move, but for aid workers to have access to these people.
No durable solution. For the benefit of our viewers again, let's pull up the map of where Syrian refugees are inside Turkey. Most of them, as you can see on your screens, are along the border. You've got Mersin, Adana, Gaziantep and Mardin, Hatay, Kilis and Şanlıurfa. These are the most affected areas as far as Turkey is concerned. But you've also got populations in Izmir. Istanbul has 563,000 refugees estimated, and so does Bursa. If this new wave, as you put it, as Edouard put it, was to unfold, where would these Syrian refugees go, Professor?
The initial waves of Syrians were allowed to settle in as they wished.
Because 85% don't live in refugee camps.
Exactly. Well, it's even more now because we are in the process of phasing out the camps. So only about 7% live in refugee camps at the moment.
So you're saying 93% are living outside of refugee camps.
Exactly. And they were allowed to settle anywhere they wished, pretty much, except for some restrictions. But currently this has changed, especially after this uneven distribution of the refugee population in the region, but also outside the region. In Istanbul, as you mentioned, there are over 500, almost more than 500,000 refugees, and this means a whole new dimension to the infrastructure of the city.
I want to bring it back to Edouard quickly. In places like Jordan, Lebanon, we see that Syrians are being deported back to Syria, despite the prevailing conditions as they are. What needs to happen internationally to find a durable solution, and what might this durable solution look like, Edouard?
Well, when you look at a refugee population, you have three kinds of durable solution that can exist. One is the integration. You've just mentioned the situation. I want to emphasize one thing. Nobody wants to live in a camp. So the solution that was found in Turkey, where the huge majority of refugees live outside these camps, is the right solution. And again, would like to praise Turkey and Turkish people for this. It is essential because durable solution means that you can find a job, you can put your children at school, and you have to find something that looks like a normal life. That's one. Integration is one way to find durable solutions for refugees. The other one is resettlement. Look where I'm sitting. We need shared responsibility. We need shared efforts. This has not been the case so far. We need Europe to really stand up to its values and to really show that it is willing to share responsibility. That means second durable solution is resettlement. It means hosting more refugees inside Europe. And I believe that many of these refugees would be willing to. And the third one, the third last durable solution is, of course, returns. But of course, these returns have to be voluntary and principled and safe. So and when it will be time, it will be essential that there is a global effort. And again, Europe will have an important role here to support these returns when they will be taking place.
On that note, thank you so much, Edouard Rodier, joining us from Brussels. He's part of the Norwegian Refugee Council and Associate Professor Basak Yavcan.